Hey guys, welcome back. Tisha here, back for another chapter reading of Christine Brown Woolley, Sister Wife, a memoir of faith, family, and finding freedom. Go ahead and do me a favor and hit the like button as we jump into this next chapter. Now, some of you may have seen that I've been releasing this more than I originally planned to, and it's because the book is just so good. And because it's good, I want to read it so that we can talk about it and so that we know what's going on and so that we don't have to duck and dodge the internet until we read it. So let's go ahead and get started. Chapter 20, Kody Brown, Lord of the Rings. I was in deep. I loved our kids. I was building our future financially. I didn't want to tear my family away from stability again. I still dreamed that our eternal marriage would reach the stage where we all settled into a happy routine, enjoyed each other's company, and watched together as our children raised their children. I have good memories of our moms in Vegas. I like watching them together. One year, Kody took them all out for Mother's Day. Robin's mom, Mary's mom, Janelle's mom, and my mom. They loved each other. And they loved Kody. Understand that he probably did that because of the show. I wonder if that's something he would have done had the camera crew not been around there. Let's keep going. We all became so close. One of the things I had hoped for when I became a sister wife. Like every family, we had wonderful days and bad ones that melded together into years. There were times when Kody and I got along and we were fine. We didn't have a true intimacy piece to the relationship, even if he still visited my bedroom. And that's undoubtedly why I never felt secure in our relationship. I loved him, but I didn't know what deep love felt like. It's hard for me to remember the good sometimes, but there were reasons to stay. Aspen, my oldest, has a video of Kody and me swing dancing in the kitchen. She posted it on social. This is my parents today. It was cute. In Vegas, we were still trying, even if it felt like everything was slipping sideways. Things would come up on set that were painful. One of us, usually Kody, would say something that hurt. Or I remember Kody's rotating schedule came up because while the schedule was generally every 4 nights, he might show up unexpectedly at one of the other wives' houses if he was withholding attention or a wife couldn't host him that night and we wouldn't be ready for him. I think that is a problem with the women because they didn't encourage him to go to where he was supposed to go. Now, there were times when Kody said that his bird told him to go over to certain places or go back to Christine's when she was ready to be done with him. But how often did that happen? And I get they felt like, he's the head of the household, blah, blah, blah. But he shouldn't have been able to navigate that way, in my opinion. That could bring feelings of irritation or rejection because getting ready for Kody was a production, and he was never part of that production. He didn't help with the meals or the housework. He helped at Robin's house. We saw him helping her wash dishes, but I'll keep reading. So our producer suggested we start to see a family therapist. Oh, that wasn't something they decided to do on their own. That was something production suggested? It did help. We sorted through some things before we had to do it on set, or we sorted through things after we were on set. It still didn't always feel safe, and some of those therapy sessions brought up things I didn't need to know. For example, we had some drama over the years over rings. I've been told the rings are a thing on the blogs. It's funny to me what people wonder about. Mary got Kody a wedding ring when they got married. One day when he was shopping with Janelle about 10 years after the wedding, Kody melted it down to add the gold to some of our girls' collider rings. He gave each of them one when they turned a certain age. Interesting that she's telling this story knowing that Mary already has a problem with it and Mary wanted to tell it herself. Second thing is, they were saying that he did this, melted it down, and just gave it to Robin's girls, but it seems like he gave it to all of them. Not that it makes it right, because he should have spoken with Mary since she was the one who brought the ring. But let's continue. But he hadn't talked to Mary about it, and they were rocky. I was furious. Why would you do something like that? He felt frustrated that Mary had so much ownership of him. First wife, legal marriage, but good Lord, talk to her. Then a few months after he met Robin, he started wearing another ring. Some sort of signet ring, S-I-G-N-E-T. Alexa, how do you pronounce S-I-G-N-E-T?
I pronounce that signet.
Signet. Alexa, stop. Signet ring. What's that ring, I asked. Oh, Robin gave it to me, he said. You're not even married yet, I said, and you're wearing a ring from Robin? Oh, yeah, he said. She brought it a while back. She had it for years, but she never had anyone to give it to. Now she feels like I earned it. I understand that Christine has a legitimate reason to feel a way about some of the things that he did. But I can see, and this is me playing devil's advocate, I can see how sometimes it would get old if you keep comparing everything. But I can also see why she would be mad that he's wearing a ring from Robin and not one from all of them. If he had a problem with Mary having a ring and acting like she owned him, then you shouldn't wear a ring from any one wife. It should be a thing where they all chip in together to get you a ring. See how I just talked myself out of that? Let me keep going. Right. Here's the thing. You can't melt down your ring with Mary and then wear a ring that your girlfriend gave you when you have 3 wives at home. I didn't even know she was going to say that. Boom. Maybe you can give her your Letterman's jacket to wear too. At about that time, Robin joined the family. I saw a cool ring modeled after one Joseph Smith wore. It was a simple band with an oval engraved in it. I checked in with the sister wives to see if I should get it. I saw it as a cool ring that connected Cody to our founder and not as something that connected Cody to me. Should we give him this ring? I asked. They all said they were fine with it. It was a gift from us, something I happened to see that had a cool story. Robin gave me a ring. And you were mad, Cody said. Check, yes, I was. And then you give me a ring, and for some reason that was okay, he continued. Well, first, I was your wife when Robin gave you the ring, and she was not, I said. And the Joseph Smith ring wasn't meant to be anything other than something I happened to see that I thought you would like. And after checking in with my sister wives, decided to get for you. Nope, that was a bad decision. He or someone was mad, and he did not wear that ring for a long time. So they weren't even honest with the situation in the ring. Getting a ring would be fine to me, doesn't make me feel like they really were with it. And I'm assuming that someone was probably the bird, maybe even Mary, but she doesn't know. I didn't know whether to feel bad or angry because all my sister wives had told me they were fine with me buying the ring. I acted on the information I had, but that's how it seems sometimes, like everyone held on to little bits of information to either protect themselves or find control in a family dynamic that could change instantly. Each wife, including me, talked to Cody about the other wives, in part to try to resolve problems, but also to let off some steam. Cody was like the grandmaster of information, and he used it for control too. But sometimes Cody was on the receiving end in our therapy sessions. Cody found out I had chucked his diamondless collider ring into a field during a particularly bad therapy session. You did what? The therapist said. I threw it, I said. Maybe you could have talked about it a little more, she said. Yeah, I said. I probably could have melted it down. No, I remember her saying, that's not the right answer either. I was legit angry that he had put a little diamond chip in Robin's ring and not in mine after I had asked so many times, and I should have been, but she was right. There were better ways to handle it for both of us. In Vegas, the 4 sister wives went in on a collider ring for Cody. It could represent all of us. And at some point, Mary and Robin got a collider ring together too. Then when Robin married my sister wife's then when Robin started, I'm making up words, my sister wife's closet, her jewelry company, Cody designed a ring to sell. It was crazy expensive. Dude, I remember thinking, no one can afford a ring like that. He designed it with a sapphire on the inside of the band so you couldn't see it. To me, that meant he saw himself as having a secret life that was so special to him, only he should know about it. He began wearing the ring he designed with Robin. Cody Brown, Lord of the Rings. Frodo was probably right, Frodo. Chapter 21. Just wait for the credits. I'm a damn good mom. There's a learning curve, and I'm still rounding the bend, but being a good mom is what I've always loved about myself. In Vegas, I realized being a mom was more important than trying to be attractive to Cody or working to be a good sister wife. My kids, and by extension, our kids, I had time all day, every day. I knew that's where I can make the biggest difference, and I understood my role. But I also understood their role. They kept me grounded. They reminded me what was important. They made me feel deeply loved. As I realized from watching the show that I could be a better listener for my kids, my dad told me a story. He came home from work one day when I was 3 or 4, and I said, "Dad, I need to show you something." Usually he was too busy, but this time he let me take his hand and lead him outside, he told me. I showed him that I could pump myself on the swing set, yellow towel flowing behind me, giggling and grinning, and so excited by his attention. He told me later that he felt grateful for that moment, for the time he took for his little girl. I made myself a promise. If the kids ever said to me, "Can I talk to you for a moment?" I would stop everything. "Yeah, let's go. Let's talk. Let's do it right now." I turn off the burner, push off the errand, or have the child stand nearby until I finish whatever I was doing. Stop, adjust, eye level with a toddler or a teen. Okay, what's on your mind? Like my dad, I'm grateful for those moments. Each mom had moments when different kids would seek them out, but my 6 kids, Janelle's 6 kids, and Leon always knew they could come talk to me. I had a couch in my room specifically for that purpose in the Vegas cul-de-sac. On my couch, the kids talked about school or love or life or something that happened with their friends. In Vegas, I figured out the love languages of all our kids. Quick premiere. Some people like words. "You have the most beautiful heart and I love you." Some like gifts. "I was at the stationery store and found this fun pen with bears on it." Some like acts of service. "That's me. I made you pancakes and sewed a star patch on the hole in your jeans." Some like quality time. "Let's go, just you and me, to that action movie you've been wanting to see." And some like touch. "Come sit with me and I'll brush your hair." In my home, rather than sharing a house with my sister wives, I could parent how I wanted. I didn't want the kids to come to my house and feel like they needed to do chores. I wanted them to hang out, play games, bond with each other. The house will get clean eventually. They didn't have to finish all the food on their plates. Dinner didn't need to be a big production with a house full of teenagers. Sounds like she's kind of trying to make some digs there at Mary, but y'all tell me what you think. They weren't allowed to eat food that looked like I was going to use it for a recipe. They could have cold cereal only as a snack because I didn't want them to sugar crash at school. They weren't allowed to make a mess with honey. A woman's got to have some rules. They know I'm an ogre after 9 p.m. You don't want to mess with me after 9. In fact, everyone knows that. One night, after we had all moved to the cul-de-sac in Vegas, the girls were sleeping across the street at Robin's. At about midnight, all of them, Gwendolyn, Isabel, Aurora, and Brianna, decided that they wanted to sleep at my house. The bird loved to say how her kids were excluded all these years, yet we keep hearing about times where they were so included. She's the one that caused the isolation. Let's keep going. They banged stuff around and ran up and down the stairs, and the whole house was just filled with noise. What are you doing here? I asked them. We wanted to come back home and sleep here, my girls told me. No, I said, get out of my house. What? You can't sleep here, I said. You said you were going to sleep at Robin, so go back over there right now. I watched as they all trapezed back across the street. Is that trapeze? Alexa, how do you pronounce Taripsed?
From Babbel.com. To pronounce this sound, make an E sound.
Oh, she's taking too long. Hold on. Yeah, I'm making it worse for real. That's traced. I watched as they all traipsed back across the street. I'm sure they were all thinking that I was a bit out of control. The next morning, Robin called me. I told them not to go over there, she said. She was laughing so hard she could barely get the words out. Your mom's not gonna like that. They did not listen to me. She told me she watched them cross the street, and then she watched them cross it again a few minutes later. By then, we were both laughing. During reasonable hours, I belonged to the kids. Once a month, I took one of my kids out on a date. With 6 kids, that may not seem like much, but they remember those nights when they had me all to themselves. Now, that I think is great. I used to do date nights with my son. I kind of miss those. Now that he's older, we don't do them as much, but we still do have times where we go out on dates together, and it's always cute. I remember telling Peyton it was his night, but he didn't want to go anywhere. He wanted to stay home and watch a movie. We popped popcorn and snuggled up on my bed. One of the other kids knocked on the door and asked if they could come in. No, sweetie, it's my date with Peyton, I called out. He glowed. Check, I thought. He'll remember this. Peyton and I didn't get along well from when he was 14 to when he was 16, in part because Cody had gone from being an incredible dad to a disappearing act. When that happens, you look for solutions. Peyton and I needed a way to connect, something safe to talk about, so we started playing Halo. After he jumped behind me and ripped off my head, I refused to play with him unless we played on a team together. I don't know what subconscious thing is happening right now, but you literally just ripped out my spine, I said. Then we started playing Lego Star Wars. I made him call me Mom Solo. I'm not calling you that, he said. Then I'm not going to play, I said, and I ran out the room. Mom, you child. That one-on-one time was the most important thing I could give them. But the time with all 6 felt like magic. I loved to see how their minds worked with their wisecracks and stories. It melted my heart to see them include Tiny True in teen games. They soothed, teased, played, and loved. I could feel grateful and whole in those moments. Some moments were more predictable than others. Every time we watched a movie to this day, just as it's about to end and the credits are ready to roll, and it's finally time for the kiss at the end of the love story, and you know it's going to be really, really good, my kids start roughhousing. Without fail. They start losing their brains, jumping all over. Oh my gosh, stop it. If you're a mom or a human, you know that never works. Just wait for the credits, I'll say. We will dance at the end credits. We will watch the rest of the movie. It's possible that the importance of a good love story in my life is obvious. The kids would sit silently holding their collective breath. As soon as the credits began to roll, we danced. That's the true ending of each and every movie I watch with my kids. Happily ever after and a dance party. That's cute. That's cute. She's giving us a little bit of her backstory. She's telling us things about her kids. She's telling us things about the other kids that she did not birth but are still her kids. Cute. Chapter 22. I stopped eating my emotions. When we moved to the cul-de-sac in Las Vegas, where our 4 houses were within steps of each other, I thought for sure me and my kids would see Cody more. It would be hard for him to hide where he spent his time if we could all see each other's houses from the front window. But Janelle's kids would come to my house looking for Cody, and he wouldn't be there. We knew he wasn't with Mary because they had a falling out. Oh, I realized, everyone's getting scraps, not just me. Cody spent so little time with us that Peyton began referring to himself as the man of the house. He was my protector, still is, but we had to talk about why mom still made the decisions. We talked about Cody's absence in therapy. My kids always talk about how much they miss Cody. I remember Robin saying, "Girl, please, your kids are secure. They know they're loved. Your kids all know who their dad is. My kids don't." How does she always manage to make everything about herself? Your kids knew who their father was. You tried to erase their father. I've said this on multiple occasions. What did she do when they were in the house and she's pointing out the sister wives and she gets to Cody and Brianna was like, Cody, and she's like, Daddy, you erased their father. Let's be clear. Let's not try to make this seem like something is not. You erased their dad. You did. And you chose to remove them. But you're sitting here making this about you when their father who's present isn't being present. I can't stand that lady. Calm down. How can you say that when we can see where he is, I asked. I don't believe plural marriage can work when there's a favorite. And I wasn't going to be close to Robin because I couldn't trust her. I don't know where Cody is either, she'd say. The move had been a big deal. 2 years after we got to Vegas in December 2012, we each moved into 4 custom-built homes with the same base floor plan, but that looked different from the outside. Mine had a moat. Mine had a moat and a turret. As a family, we believed it would move us closer to what we had in Wyoming or the Lehigh houses without having, Lehigh house without having to live in the same building. While we were physically closer, our relationships didn't improve. By the end of each day in Vegas, I had enough of the emotional togetherness, the talking on set. I felt constantly on edge, constantly uncertain, constantly worried about the next thing that might pop out of someone's mouth. The questions were hard and often about things the producers noticed that they then wanted to dive into. And it might be about the way I side-eyed Cody when he said something that wasn't true. And then I'd have to come up with a diplomatic way to be kind about it. It was like gaslighting myself. I don't think any of us wanted to spend time with each other in the evenings, but at first, I didn't know anybody else. Because I grew up in a closed community, I didn't know how to make friends. I remember asking my neighbor, Deirdre, is that Deirdre? How is Truly supposed to make friends? She explained play dates to me. You invite people to come over, or you take Truly to other people's homes. Then they hang out? What? Rubbish. Is that really how it works? When I was little, we made friends through church or through our dozens of brothers and sisters and cousins. There were kids everywhere, and it wasn't a matter of making friends so much just showing up. Our kids figured it out quickly. They went to school and they made friends. Ta-da! But then I'd hit it off with their parents. We'd hang out while our kids play. Crazy, right? I worried for the first time in my life whether people would like me. I had to say things like, you want to come over this weekend? We have a pool in the backyard, but also it's always a little bit extra in the Brown household. Most of the time it was fine, but one time we were invited to a birthday party. When we got to the house, there was no party, but there was a huge hole in the roof of the house. Meth lab fire. No more play dates with that family. That's a problem everywhere, but Vegas has maybe a wider variety of people. Because we were on a reality show, we also had to watch out for people pretending to be friends because they thought they could become famous through us. I learned how to filter. In part because of the new friendships and socializing, I also started to drink a bit more in Vegas. Ooh, I ain't know that, girl. Do tell. I'm pretty sure you guys noticed. After a hard conversation, Janelle popped out on one episode with, I feel like we should have alcoholic beverages, and the whole state of Utah gasped. And then when TLC started having to bleep us, oh my heck, in Utah, our crowd didn't cuss and didn't drink. Vegas is different that way. But if you're a sister wife, what you say or drink in Vegas definitely doesn't stay there. I started having friends over to my house and going to their parties, and it felt good to relax and talk to people I wouldn't be living with in 250 years because we were eternally linked. But I started to come home from the set feeling like I needed a beer. Need is the right word. I needed something to take the edge off the day so I could be a good mom. I found that if I drank just a little, just one bottle of beer or cider, I could make dinner, have great conversations, and help the kids with their homework. Wow. So is she saying that she started to be dependent in some way on alcohol? I'm not saying that, she was an alcoholic or anything like that, but she's admitting that that was her way of coping when there were other ways of coping, but everything was so heavy around her, but that's what she turned to. Let's keep going. It wasn't a lot, but it was a crutch. And it was something I would have to deal with, yeah. As the constant rejection continued outside my window, and as I worked to get through the humiliation of being the chubby nacho girl, I went through some tough body image and self-esteem issues. I've always been a bigger girl, always been overweight. It's part of who I was. But when I got pregnant with Truly, I gained a lot of weight. I went on a diet after and didn't gain it back, which was great. But then, in the book we wrote together, Cody called me dumpy. To heck with that, I thought, and I started to eat junk food because why not? But that also seemed ridiculous. The show didn't help. I remember my friends saying after guest appearances on the show, "Oh, I don't like the way I look on camera." No one does. It's hard. You realize you have certain facial expressions no one else notices, or that your left eyebrow isn't perfectly symmetrical with your right, or some other ridiculous little thing. But I hadn't clocked my weight until we went public. Oh my gosh, I thought. I can't believe this. You're on TV. Things need to change. When I lived in Lehigh, I had a miscarriage. It was terrible, terrible. Dr. Bean performed the D&C procedure afterward, but he was also the one who delivered Truly, then treated my postpartum depression. So I thought that Dr. Bean was in Vegas. Did she go from Utah to Vegas in order to do that? I'm a little confused on that, but When I started to go downhill in the cul-de-sac, I called Dr. Bean. I'm spinning out of control, and Cody has a new wife, and Cody was never attracted to me. What are you doing? He asked. I'm eating everything, I said. Okay, he said. Maybe there's something else we can try. That's when I started my fitness journey, but true inspiration came from Janelle. When we lived in the cul-de-sac, Janelle worked out every day, and she didn't seem worried so much about how she looked as she did about being strong. She loves camping and hiking, and those things are so much more fun when you don't lose your breath or feel your heart rate going up. Why am I not respecting and honoring my body? I started to wonder after seeing Janelle's progress. Why do I not love it like I should? It's gotten me this far. When Janelle started working out, she became empowered. Her self-esteem increased and she was strong. That was when I started to work on loving myself for me and not for Cody or anyone else. I just remember when they did that whole Cody Brown family renewal thing, and Janelle put on that blue dress that had her eyes popping and she looked gorgeous. Janelle looked good. She did. And Cody was, on Janelle. I wanted to feel good. He's not attracted to me. Okay, fine. I'm still going to look good for me. I started to watch what I ate. I started to work out. I hired a trainer after working out with Janelle a couple of times. We started with the weigh-in and then talked about form and musculature. The workouts, kettlebells, weights, medicine balls, battle ropes left me exhausted. I loved how it felt. Oddly enough, I worked out with Cody sometimes. We go to the gym together and do our own workouts. My trainer was lovely, and she would hike with me or plan a workout in my backyard. She helped me understand that when you make a decision to take care of yourself, it empowers you. You have the ability to make your own life better, but to do that, you have to like yourself enough to believe it's important. This is so true. This is very true. I just started working out again because I'm the largest I've ever been in my life. And there are days where I gotta like really talk myself into it, because when you get older, things that used to work don't always respond the same way. And then you may have some underlying health things going on that cause your body to sometimes, balloon and whatever else. But she's right. She's right. You got to believe in yourself enough to keep going, even those times where you don't see the results that you want to see. Thanks for the reminder, Christine. I realize I do like myself. I've done the work over the years to be kind, to think instead of spout, to be curious and grow, and to be an excellent mom. We started changing how we ate when Cody got into eating based on his blood type, which is the same as mine. No matter whether there's scientific evidence for it, it got us eating healthier food, protein heavy, lots of veggies, and avoiding dairy. Eat broccoli to lose weight. That's hard to argue with. When you have so many kids running through searching for snacks, we each had to have extra food in the house at all times. Even if the snacks are healthy, popcorn, cheese, fruit, they're still caloric. And they aren't necessarily things I would keep if I lived on my own. Proximity means temptation. We also had a swarm of people to feed, and healthy means more expensive. Now, she ain't lying about that, especially these days with these prices. Every time I go shopping, I get depressed. I used to love going grocery shopping. And now I was like, oh, I gotta go shopping. I'm just telling y'all my truth. Okay. Okay. It's harder to buy fresh when you buy in bulk. So I had to think harder about options. Before dinner, we always made an appetizer, veggies, and dip or something, because otherwise they're going to come in like a horde of locusts and eat everything in their path. We did a lot of bar meals like pasta or pizza bar or sushi bar. We always had a salad bar, but we also did what was cheap. So we ate a lot of pasta and bread. Not anymore. That stopped. Beans and brown rice are just as cheap as pasta and can be fun with veggie sides and hot sauce. Oatmeal could replace sugary cereal. A salad bar could include a proteiny grain like quinoa or lentils. If it's a whole food, which means you're starting from scratch rather than something somebody else has already made into a chip, a mix, a bread, or a frozen dinner, it's healthier. Did you know that according to the World Health Organization, we're never supposed to eat processed meats like salami or bacon because they can cause structural damage to our cells, leading to colon cancer? It's nuts. I started to listen to my body. I ate mostly white meats, such as chicken and fish. Red meats make me achy and sore, so I don't do that often. I stay away from milk because I don't digest it easily. Ice cream, proof that there is a God. What happens to my belly after I eat ice cream? Proof that there is a devil. I stopped eating my emotions. I also learned that when I want to lose weight, I have to count calories. I don't care what supplements you take. There are tricks. Go for a 20-minute walk and earn yourself 100 calories. Smartphone apps will keep you accountable and do the math for you. Look for fun but low-calorie foods like pickles or a lovely tomato salad. And allow yourself treats like a square of dark chocolate or one of those 100-calorie ice cream bars. But track your calories. I feel pretty good at 170 pounds, but it's different for everyone. That's where my clothes fit right. I still love desserts, and I don't see the point if it's not chocolate. And I occasionally enjoy a massive plate of nachos. For some reason, I enjoy them more than I used to. Okay, Christine, we get it. Like the nacho thing at first, I was with you, but she really, really harps on that nacho thing. And some of you may disagree with me. That's okay. I'm over you talking about the nachos, girl. We get it. He hurt your feelings with the nachos. David loves you eating nachos. You love eating nachos. And now you with a man who doesn't care about how many nachos you eat. Okay. I'm just saying. I thought because I felt so great that Cody and I would get better. I looked better and my confidence was high. I felt happier, which meant I put less pressure on Cody. Every aspect of my life got better, so I thought my relationship would too. Chapter 23. You're really going to do that? It didn't. We rented a couple of RVs to drive to Montana for a family vacation, but our plans fell through. So Cody said, well, we can just go hang out with Ken. Oh, I'll never forget that. That episode ticked me off. Let's get into it. This Ken could beach. If we hung out with Ken, we could go to the lake in Ken's boat. Ken was one of Cody's high school classmates. When Cody joined the polygamous church after performing his mission for the LDS church, Ken and another pal shunned Cody, complaining about his morality and calling him a sinner. Ken said he didn't want to be around Cody anymore. They had been best friends. Then they repaired their friendship a little bit. And Ken, being a generous man, told Cody, we would welcome you back to the church with open arms, but you can only bring one wife. Cody presented it to us as a joke, and then he started talking about how we could go boating with Ken and blah, blah, blah. I was livid. You're really calling Ken, I said? You're really going to do that? Ken. And I threw a fit on the show. He owes me an apology, I said. His behavior to me was unacceptable. I'm beyond pissed that we're going to see him. We'd seen him at the high school reunion, and Ken told Cody that finding out Cody was going to be a polygamist bring in a lot of friction. I just thought he was stupid. I side-eyed him. Mary side-eyed him. He kept going. It made no sense to me how he could do such a thing. Neat. Sign me up to hang out. I can beach. On our RV trip, I let Cody have it. I don't know why he was allowed on our family vacation when he's against most of our family. Cody's response, well, listen, he's always invited me to go boating. That's rubbish. How did that end? Okay, I said, it's fine. The cameras caught all of it, of course. We went to see Old Faithful and drove through Yellowstone beyond beautiful. And then Cody said, I try to get a hold of Ken in spite of your complaints, Christine. I roll on my part. He's not available. We would not be going to visit. That's too bad, I said, pursed lips. And then Cody lectured us about how everyone has religious prejudices and told us that Mormons believe Mormonism is for everybody, while Cody, did not believe polygamy is for everyone. I asked again for an apology from Ken, and Cody said he would not ask for one. Something about it made his testicles shrink. Interesting thing was, if I remember correctly, Christine said Ken saw this episode and he later did call and give her an apology. Cody wasn't willing to stand up for Christine because he really didn't care how it affected her and how she felt about it. I have a feeling if somebody like the Bird would have done it, if Robin would have said that she had a problem with it, he would have stood up for her. Let's keep going. I told him to sleep somewhere else that night in front of my sister wives. They all went silent and looked away because that's how we kept our relationship separate. On the show, Cody talked about the extraordinary size of my ego and said it was driven by my pride. Telling this story now, none of it seems unreasonable to me. There are many ways to make your perspective clear without calling people stupid, while using bad grammar, or without letting a portion of your best pal's family know they're not welcome. And Cody, yeah, fight for our honor. What happened to my maverick? What happened to the guy in high school who went against traditional thinking? I was thinking at the time, if you went back to the mainstream Mormon church, You take Robin and leave the rest of us behind. I didn't want to be left behind, nor did I want to go somewhere I felt we weren't accepted. Ken apologized later. He called and said he understood he needed to clear the air, but he did that by saying it was just a joke. And then when we went to the lake to hang out with Ken, who had cleared his schedule so we could film with him, I felt frustrated and angry, and I didn't think we should be there or that we shouldn't fit or that we should film. But there was more to the story. Cody convened a meeting at a picnic table as we headed to visit friends in Montana. I said I was worried everyone was mad at me for getting upset about Ken. Cody decided we should pray about it and then said on camera that he would talk with me privately about it so he didn't embarrass me, which embarrassed me. When he got me by myself with the camera, he said my behavior was erratic and then said some people refer to it as PMS, but I don't know what's going on. The way that thing pissed me off when he said it, because he knew that she was going through postpartum and other things. He knew at that time that she was going through depression, and he decided to try to blame it on PMS. Even if it was PMS, why are you saying it out your mouth? It wasn't PMS. It was her legitimate feelings about how she was handled in that moment. And rather than for a moment thinking about how she felt, he made it about himself. I guess as a woman, if I didn't agree with his take on the situation, it must have been temporary female insanity, hysteria, and so on. I did, however, feel out of control. I did not feel as if I was being rational. And maybe that was because normally when I'm angry, I think about it a bit before I say my piece. In this case, while I still feel like Ken's behavior was inappropriate and like I didn't want to be around someone who didn't approve of my family, I didn't like that I just let it loose. It didn't feel like me. It felt as if my insides were bouncing around, like my guts had imbibed too much caffeine. Alexa, how do you pronounce IMBIBED?
From straightdope.com. In both casual and precise speech,
Oh,
I
good.
pronounce it some.
Imbibed. That means to consume or absorb something. That's what Alexa told me. Imbibed too much caffeine. I couldn't sleep anymore. While we were in Montana, we started chatting with a woman, a nurse, who talked about her menopause symptoms. Afterwards, I opened up to her a bit about what was going on with me. Oh, she said, you just need this progesterone, I always say that wrong, progesterone cream, and you'll be fine. In case I said it wrong, PROGESTERONE. You can find it in any health food store. Whoa, nobody talks about this stuff. And I was only 40. I hadn't even been thinking about the possibility of menopause. I was so grateful to her. I think she added years to my marriage. But here's what no one talks about. Before you even hit menopause, which is defined as 1 year without your period, you hit perimenopause, which usually lasts about 4 years but can last as long as 8. Perimenopause, it's sneaky. I think we all hear about hot flashes and lower sex drives, but I thought it happened in one go. Like one day you wake up and you're just done. We don't talk about menopause or perimenopause because we don't see it as normal or sexy. But what if my ability, that trip to say what I was thinking, was simply my wisdom not being held back by my estrogen? Because my estrogen's only concern was how I could get what I needed to have more babies. It is true that there are times that this isn't talked about. I know that in recent years, I've had certain talks with friends who are older than me, and they've kind of prepared me for a little bit of this. My mom also prepared me for some stuff, but my mother had a hysterectomy when she was in her 40s. So, there's a whole bunch of different things to be considered, but I like that she's talking about this. I like that she's mentioning it. So that's one theory. The other is that my hormones were in disarray. It was like, are you there, God? It's me, Margaret, all over again. And it wasn't any more fun as an adult. The sneaky symptoms: forgetfulness, dryness, waking up at night, needing to open a window at night, not wanting your partner to cuddle because it feels like your skin is crawling off your body, periods that last days, periods that last a month, no period, feeling hungry, feeling full, feeling like you're about to get the flu, feeling as if you're boiling on the inside, reaching for a sweater 2 minutes later. My menopause got worse. By the time I hit 45, my hot flashes were awful. Not everyone gets them. Some people barely notice menopause. The over-the-counter cream stopped being enough, and I started having a hard time with conversations and existing as a human. I called Dr. Bean. I'm not okay, I said. I don't know what to do. He told me I probably needed stronger progesterone, and he gave me a prescription. And I went to see a natural care doctor who hooked me up with vitamins and supplements after I told her I felt like I needed a drink to be around my kids. Whoa, that got deep. When the hot flashes got out of control, I went to see Dr. Bean in person, and he started me on estrogen. Gosh, it was fun to see him again, and the estrogen was enough. Dr. Bean also taught me that you need to listen to your body. When I was pregnant with Truly, I told him, I feel like she's smaller than the rest of my kids. What do you think? He said, I don't know. It's your body. From then on, I was like, oh, I got this. I'm listening. Now when people request cameos for 40th birthdays, I say, look, I know this is your birthday and I'm going to sing to you, but I'm going to have a real conversation with you. Menopause sucks and it's going to kick your butt. But when things stop making sense, you can get help for it. Go talk to your OBGYN. It's my personal public service announcement. We need to talk about it. Go ahead on, Christine. Listen, if things start feeling off, you can go get your FSH levels checked. Your doctor can tell you if you're in it, and then they can recommend hormone replacement treatment. Yes, there was a scare about breast cancer and stroke risk with HRT, but the newer research has shown the benefits often outweigh the risk. HRT can take care of all those sneaky symptoms as well as helping your skin and sex life. There are a ton of natural options too. Just know that it may hit earlier than you think. And lots of fancy pants celebrities like Gwyneth, Drew, and Cindy are working to make talking about it normal. And that wisdom is incredibly, indisputably sexy. That was a lesson I still needed to learn. And that's where we're going to end it. This, I see what she's doing. She's really talking about, all facets of life. I'm not mad at her about talking about menopause. I don't know if I would be considered premenopausal yet because I just started getting to the point where sometimes I'm hot at night, but that's only if I don't keep the AC at below 72. If it's up to my son, that joker's on 65 and he's 18. So what does that say? Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Also, thank you for those of you who've been coming and for the new family members as well. I appreciate you. I see those numbers slowly keep creeping up and it means a lot to me. Until next time.